Hi friends, and welcome to day 11 in our 12 days of DIY craft making series. And day 11, as you can see, brings us beautiful spiral beaded ornaments. I am so excited about this one, friends. We are in the second to the last day of the series. And the reason I'm so excited is because we're going to take a lot of things that we've learned throughout the series in terms of utilizing our craft wire and spiraling it and twirling it and twisting it, manipulating it, and all the fun things that we've done. For example, in the icicle ornaments, and we did the spiral with the wire. We've done the beaded trees, and we've also done the beaded wreaths. And all of these things are possible because of something so awesome, which I love, which is craft wire, right? And so now we're just going to take all of those ideas and we're going to elevate our ornaments into spiral ornaments. And as you can see in front of you, just an array of design and creativity at play. Is cut your length according to how long you want it. So this one's a little bit more freedom of creativity, I feel, because these spiral beaded ornaments are just really, they're very versatile and it's very diverse, in terms of what you can and cannot do. There's really just no right and wrong. Like I said, you can use lots of gauges of wire, just depending upon your beads and the weight of your beads. You can also cut your wire whatever length you want according to the size. So a lot of fun we can have. Now this guy here, I'm going to cut, I'm thinking a little bit more. I'm thinking I'm doing probably around 16 inches of wire here because I want to do a wire wrap loop on the top and a wire wrap loop on the bottom, I think. And I want to have quite a few twirls in this one. So I want it to be a little bit more elaborate. So I'm going to cut off my wire. And then I'm going to make sure, first thing I'm doing, guys, is that I'm going to flush cut my top and my bottom of my wire. After I've just smoothed it out, as you saw, with my nylon jaw. Another important step, you want to get your wire nice and smooth. Okay, now I'm going to make a wire wrap loop on the bottom. Now for the spiral ornaments here, guys, we go from the bottom up, and the obvious reason is because depending upon what you want to do on the bottom. So if you're like wanting to do a spiral, right, you would need to do that first, right? Or if you were going to do any kind of bead working and wire working on the bottom. That's why I work from the bottom up on these. So I'm going to do a medium size loop here. Oh, I just said I was doing a wire wrap loop, duh. Guess I'll go down a little bit. So I'm just going to do a simple wire wrap loop. So I'll wrap that wire around my plier, move my plier away and straighten that out a little bit. And then I'll just wrap that around. So I'll grab my chain nose, put that over my loop, and then I'm just going to wrap that wire around a couple times. There's about 2.5. And then I'm going to turn it to the back and squeeze that together, and then we'll trim that excess and tuck that in. And now I'll straighten that out a little bit and get my loop straight on my wire. Just a little straighter there, okay? And so that's what I have to get going. So now my wire wrap loop is ready for me to do my bottom, right? But I'm gonna go ahead and finish my ornament first. So I've got my wire, and I'll just feed on the desired pattern that I want to feed on. So just feed on your beads and have fun with it, guys. Okay, and so here's my object, right? And so here's all my beads. Pretty much filled that guy up. Okay, so I'm going to hold my wire up here. Just going to leave a little space for my beads, and I'm going to grab this loop that I've made at the bottom. I'm going to put it on my object with my finger here and try to push my beads down, right, So I have this finger up here. I pushed my beads down, but I'm still have, you know, control up here in this portion of my wire, right? So that you can allow your beads to move, because they will. They're going to expand on the wire as we twist it, right? And we don't want our beads to crack. And so I'm just going to go ahead and begin to twist. And you can twist as far apart or as close together as you want. Okay, I'm going to do mine a little closer together. So now I've got it twisted around. I'm just going to be really careful as I'm kind of pulling and shaping it around to not crack my beads. Okay. And then we'll do a little bit more shaping in a minute, and that's pretty good to me. So it's given us our main shape, and we can remove our object. Okay. And now this is what we have. Okay. Now what I'm going to do here, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to determine that this, you know, where the loop is facing to the left, that would likely be the front, right? So I need to turn this down, okay, so that I can dangle something off of it. So I'm just gonna grab, I'm holding my wire up here at the top, right? I'm just gonna grab that loop. Well, there's two ways, actually. Let me show you both, tell you both ways. We can grab this loop with our chain nose, and then we can bend it down, okay? Or we can peek the beads down. And I've done that on quite a few, and I kind of like the way that looks like. See how I did that here? You see how I kind of took those last couple beads and just pushed them down to peek them down. Okay, so I think I'm gonna do that here. So I'm just gonna grab these couple of beads down here by my loop, and I'm just gonna kind of pull them down gently, just like that. Okay, I'm holding everything else right in my hand. So I'm just really working with this section of the wire. And that's pretty good. Okay, and now I've got my loop. Now you see how my loop is facing this way, not this way, because this is the front, right? So if I want my loop to be turned the other way, all I do is I'm gonna grab my pliers, and then you would hold that bottom bead and then just twist your loop, whatever direction you want it. Right now, I'm okay with it being that way. We'll see what I need to do in a minute when we get to this guy. Okay, and so now this is where you just have a ton of fun, guys. They're just so versatile. If you want it to be wider, we can expand it, which is what I'm going to do. So in order to do that, I'm going to kind of hold this, let's see, the second rotation here. And I'm going to pull up a little bit, and then I am going to hold this first rotation and pull this up just a little bit. And so now that is what I have. So that really widened that up, right? And similarly on the top, now we need to bend this to where it's straight up. So we're going to lay this, or hold it rather, to where that loop is touching your workspace. And I am now going to take this wire at the top bead there, put my chain nose directly above the bead, and I am gonna go ahead and push this wire and turn it up, straight up and down, okay? Just like that. And so now my wire is straight up and down, and I can make my wire wrap loop, okay? So I got 4 wraps in there, and I'll trim off the excess and tuck in my burr. And just be really careful, depending upon what beads you've got there. All the beads I've been using are crystal and glass, so be real careful not to break your beads. Okay, and see, now that is what I have, right? We made that wire go straight up because we held it this way, and now I need my loop in front of me. So I'm just gonna simply grab, with my chain nose, my wraps. So I'll put my chain nose right over my wraps there, okay? And now I am going to pull this up towards me using my wraps to pull it up. Okay, just like that. Okay, and I can now remove my chain nose, and now if I need to straighten out my loop at all, it's a little wonky. Can push that over, and let me pull you down to the mat to show you what I have there. So notice how if I'm holding it like this, the way it would be hanging, okay, my loop my loops are actually the same direction. So this loop is facing me at the bottom, and this loop is facing me at the top. And notice how this is bent up. See that? How it's bent up. So that's what you want, so that when you're hanging it, obviously, your loop is on the top. And I can see it's a little sideways, so I am going to just turn it a little bit. Okay, so there we go. That's what I have. Okay, and that's what that looks like. Okay, and so now we'll go ahead and let's do something fun on the bottom. So I have herringbone wrap. So I just need a small loop. I've got a big enough loop on the bottom to attach this to. So, then I might need to use a jump ring. Haha. Okay, well, we can do that too. We can add a jump ring. Or I can wire wrap this loop. That's what I'll do. It'll be a little bit more difficult, but I'll go down just about a 1/2 inch there and put in just a few wraps. It's probably going to be a little difficult if I wire wrap this to do my herringbones, but we're going to try it. I've never done this, so premiere of something new. I don't see why I can't. I just have to be careful not to misshape my ornament I've already made. So let me see if I can get that loop closed there. And we'll just wire wrap this directly to my loop. Then I can avoid using a jump ring, and we can get some herringbone wraps in. Let's see, I've got almost 4 wraps in there. And it's about all I'm going to be able to do. So actually it's about more like 3. But that's okay. So we've got that part done. Okay, and so that's wire wrapped directly on my loop there. And now we would slide our bead on and do some herringbones. So let's see here. I see that's not tucked in quite right. Got that tucked in. Okay. So I slide my bead on. And I do have a tutorial up in my 101 series, my Jewelry 101 playlist, guys, about how to do herringbone wraps if you are interested. But I'm about to do them now, so, but I do go into more detail in that playlist, in that particular video. Trying to straighten my loop out a little bit there. Okay. So I've got my bead on, and now I'm just going to feed my wire up around the side of my crystal, and then I'm going to, where my wraps are right here, and let me see if I can zoom you down. Okay. So I've got that wire around the side of my bead, and now I'm going to take this top wire and wrap it around over the top, right, of those wraps. So you're always going to land on the top. So just wrap it around once. Okay, and now I'm going to take this wire and guide it down the other side of my crystal and lay it right along the bead. And now I'm at the bottom, and I am using the 22 gauge, which is really good for herringbones. And now I'm at the other side, and I'm going to take and guide this wire directly behind the previous wrap there on that bead. Okay, and let me move my wire into place here. And now I'm back at the top, and I'm going to land right on the top of my wraps there and wrap that wire around one rotation. And I don't know if I can get one more wrap in. Let's try. So I'll just guide that wire down and around. Yeah, I think I can. Barely. And around the side again. And then back to the top here. And I'm on the top of my wrap. And I'm going to grab that wire and twirl it around. And wrap it around one more time. Push my wire back in place there. And then we will leave it in the back to trim it off. And that's what I have. Can move our wire if we need to a little bit. It's got those scallop edges on this crystal. So it's slipping a little bit, but we got it. That looks pretty. And then I'll just trim that off in the back, and we made a really beautiful, elaborate, a little bit more elaborate. Spiral, I keep saying icicle. Okay, and there we go. And that's what we have, guys. And now I can take some string or ribbon or whatever I want and make sure that, so this is literally my front exactly the way it's laying, and making sure that my loop is facing the right way, and it is, but it's just turned a little bit. So let me just grab my chain nose, hold that bead. I'm just gonna bend it just a smidge, just to where that lays a little better. And up at the top, as you can see, my loop got a little bit distorted, so I'll just straighten it back up there. It's just what you want, just like this is a wall. You just want it to go straight up and down. And that is what we have made. A really beautiful, beautiful spiral beaded ornament. I love this. I will push you guys back up a little bit here and pull some of these out, give you an opportunity for a screenshot if you want. And I hope you guys enjoyed. I really do. Let me get some things out of the way. These are some of my favorites. You can just have so much fun. Get your wire out, get some supplies. It's just, there are no rules, guys, and have a ton of fun designing some beautiful spiral beaded ornaments of your own. Let me get them laid out here. I really like this with the little spiral at the bottom too. So cute, but I really love this chain. This chain situation is just a whole little vibe. It's so cute as a bug's ear. Loving that too. And then we've got that one with that beautiful crystal, and you can see all the different little twists that I've made. All kind of different fun things that we can do. And there we go. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and thank you for sticking with me throughout the series here. And day 11 is a wrap. Spiral beaded ornaments, and I hope you guys are inspired. I hope you guys learned something, and I hope you guys will try to make some of your own. We will see you tomorrow for the finale, my friends, day 12, and I cannot wait until the finale. So we will see you guys on the mat tomorrow, Monday, and until then, friends, be blessed.